Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and the place to be, it's Debsy. That's me. Boop, Debsy. Hey guys, happy Thursday, and I hope everybody is having a wonderful week. Listen, Linda, we only have to get through tomorrow. And then, oh, what am I saying? Listen, we're at the weekend. We're essentially at the weekend. We just got to get through tomorrow, and that's it. And then here we go. It's the weekend. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful week so far and had a great day. I did it last night. I watched Sorority. I watched episode 5 of Sorority Mom's Guide to Rush. Let's get into it. I like how I did it last week, where I broke it down to like each young lady has her own segment. So that's what we're going to do again this week. We have 2 young ladies who once again are rushing at Ole Miss University. And that is Nina, and she has her mom Jennifer with her, and Ainsley, who has Mama Dana. Okay, so both young ladies are from Nashville as well. There was a part of me that was kind of hoping that they would get into like the same sorority. I think that would be cool, but they didn't. Okay, so first we have Nina and her mom, Jennifer. Jennifer is a legacy at Kappa Delta. She's going to Ole Miss, and it seems like Nina and her mom Jennifer have a very close relationship. They're like besties, and Nina was adopted by Jennifer and her husband, because Jennifer tells the story that I don't know where, I can't remember where Jennifer said they were, but there was a woman who was pregnant, and she had said to Jennifer, she said, "I'm not going to be able to take care of my baby. Would you adopt my baby when she's born?" And Jennifer and her husband, they adopted her, and just have the most loving relationship. But what Nina is worried about is Nina's worried about going from a small town where she has like the comfort of her family to a big town. So her mom is kind of worried about how Nina's going to be able to handle this. I mean, it's a big change. It's a huge change. Plus, then you have the pressure of rush. So Bill meets Nina, and off camera, Jennifer thinks maybe Nina is not ready for rush, which to me, I was like, do you mean she's not emotionally ready for rush, or she's behind on the steps? And I'm kind of, at this point, I'm like, I'm wondering if Nina really wants to do this, or if her mom is not pushing her to do it, but is strongly suggesting that she do it. Bill meets with Nina, and she is very like, whenever Bill asks the question, like, you know, he's pretending to be the sorority sister. And her answer, she starts off giggling. And so he says something like, "Oh, we have the giggler here," or something. Basically what he really wants to work on is making sure that when she speaks that there's substance, and not just being like a smile, like a pretty face and a smile, and just trying to get through everything with like a giggle or a laugh. I'm going to tell you, and this is when Nina says that she's worried. She's worried that she won't get a bid because of who she is. And honestly, it broke my heart hearing about how when her mom would go out in the store with her, and people would look at Nina, who is biracial, and would ask the mother, "Well, what's this?" What do you mean, what's this? Oh my God. I just can't. I just can't. I can't. I just cannot even imagine that. And so Nina's worried about this because she's going to be going to the South where, race relations in the South have never been great. So she's worried about this. And I don't blame her. I could never say I get where she's coming from. But, my goodness. It just breaks my heart. She just is, Nina in this video, in this week's episode, is just so pure. She just has such a pure, she seems like just such a pure heart. Like she just has a gentle, kind heart, like a gentle heart. So, I'm going to start crying, but it broke my heart. It just broke my heart to hear how people would treat her just based on the color of her skin. That's terrible. That's just, okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent. And that's not what you're here for. Okay. So, now listen, here's the thing I liked about her mother. Her mother is Katie, but she really wasn't pushing her to go, you better join Katie. Oh, blah, 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 this and that. I like that she was like, it would be nice if you did, but if you don't, it's okay. Okay, so 1 week into Rush, 1 week before Rush, I'm sorry, Bill visits and does a check-in with her. And like I said, she opens up a little bit more to Bill. And she said she is really nervous about being accepted. It's the South. And she's like, I don't look like everybody else. I'm not blonde haired, blue eyed. I'm biracial. And Bill was like, sure, you are going to be going to a school that, in the past doesn't have the greatest track record with race relations, and it's in the South. But then he told another story. He said, when I wanted to get married, he said I had to go to the next county to get married because I couldn't in my county. So I had to actually go somewhere else to get married. And he basically said, listen, you visited Ole Miss and you saw yourself there. You saw it as your possible home away from home. So we belong. You belong wherever you can go. You belong. If you can get there and you can be standing there, then you belong there. And he basically said, you don't have to buy into anyone. You don't have to buy into anyone's negativity. That's theirs. I love that. I love Bill Alverson. He might come off like in the previews or in the commercials as like this snobby Rush coach, but he gives these young ladies just the absolute best advice that is so genuine. And it seems like he really does genuinely care about these young ladies and really wants to see them succeed. I love this advice. I love this advice that he gave to her. So, both of the girls this week are nervous to leave. And at one point, Nina is like saying that she doesn't want to leave. Like, she just wants to stay there with her mom. So she's getting all, no, don't cry. So she's getting all packed up to go. And she has everything in her car. and she's in her car, and then she yells for her mom, and she goes up and she runs up to her mom and she hugs her because because she's gonna miss her. And oh, listen, was I the only person? If anybody watched it, was I the only person who was crying at that? Because as you can tell, I'm crying now. But oh, it was sweet, because she was like, she was getting ready to like move on to the next part of her life, but she still wanted her mother, and she was like, oh, okay, I'm a mess. All right. So open house. I'm not going to go through all 4 steps. We know the steps. By now we all know the 4 steps. Open house, philanthropy, sisterhood, and pref. Yeah, that's it. We all know them. And then I was like, I don't know them. Open house, philanthropy, sisterhood, preference, or pref. Okay, so for open house, the maximum number of houses you can get back is 8. And Nina, listen, and before, Bill was like, let me see what you're putting in your bag, your rush bag. And she did not have sneakers. She only had heels. He was like, you were gonna want to put some sneakers. So she's happy she packed her sneakers, and she is loving it. She did get a call back from KD. But then a little bit later on, she's walking and she's saying that, listen, nothing is really clicking, and I haven't had my aha moment. Like, this is where I belong. As it turns out, she was dropped by Katie Kappa Delta, and she's devastated. She's crying. She's devastated. And, I feel so terrible for her. But Bill says, listen, don't concentrate on who dropped you, but just now focus on who's left, okay? Because if they dropped you, then they weren't the right fit for you. Your right fit is out there. Just concentrate on who's left. And she was also talking about, and I thought this was such a nice moment that showed sisterhood and girlhood. And that was, she wasn't feeling so great, and she was crying, and the girls around her had rallied around her and had cheered her up and were there for her. I think that's amazing. I think that's a great example of sisterhood and girlhood. So everything, she went to 80 Pie. Everything went good at 80 Pie. And we find out on bid day that Miss Nina was, I don't know why I'm crying so much. I just thought she was so sweet. But Miss Nina was picked up. Miss Nina ran home to Kappa, and she seemed so happy. And it looks like she really found her place, her home away from home. So congratulations, Miss Nina. That was awesome. And next up, we have Miss Ainsley. Ainsley and her mom, Dana, who was, do I have here that she was also a Kappa Delta? So her mom was in a sorority. Everybody in her family was in a sorority. Her father was in a fraternity. Her father actually ended up buying the fraternity house, I think. So everybody in the family is Greek. They also live in Nashville, and Miss Ainsley is also going to Ole Miss. So the thing with Ainsley's mom is like real brutally honest. Now here's the thing. I'm not saying this about Dana. I'm saying this in general about when people say I'm brutally honest. I typically am like, uh-oh, does that mean you're a BITCH? Because sometimes when people are brutally honest, I feel like they say that so that it just excuses them and allows them to just say whatever they want, even if it's like super hurtful. None of anything that that Dana was saying, that Ainsley's mom Dana was saying, was hurtful or anything like that. Not at all. But I'm just saying, this is not for Dana. This is just in general. When people are like, I'm brutally honest, in my back of my head, I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to be crying here eventually. So that's just that. Ainsley tends to have little breakdowns often. So her mom, this is what is giving her mom some worry about how she's going to do during rush. Like, how is she, if she's not there, how is she going to handle if something goes wrong and then she has a breakdown? So listen, Bill comes in, they meet Bill. I have written down, is her mom really acting like she knows more than Bill? I get that you were in a sorority and everybody in the family took part in Greek life, but that was rushing like years ago. Rushing now is like unlike anything in the past. Listen, I myself didn't rush. I didn't go through the full rush. Here's what I did. Back in the 80s, back in the late 80s at Edinburgh, we just went around and like, I went to visit a couple houses. Was it even at a house? I don't even think it was at a house. Like, they didn't have houses. Yeah, so I went and I saw a little presentation by each of the sororities, and then I realized it wasn't for me because I said somebody said one of their colors was buff, and I said yellow, and they said no, it's buff. I said, yeah, it looks like gold or it looks like yellow. And she's like, it's buff. And I said, oh, that's it. We're done. So I can't, but from hearing on TikTok when people are like, when I rushed, it wasn't anything like this. It's totally different now. I mean, hello, even with just the introduction of like social media makes it different, but it's very different now. So let Bill talk. Bill knows. Bill has helped a lot of girls get into a lot of sororities. Okay, so grandma, listen, the one applying the real pressure isn't her mom. It's grandma. Grandma was an 80 pie. Grandma is really pushing 80 pie. But, and this is exactly correct on her mom's part, 80 pie at one college or university may be vastly different at another university or college. 80 pie, where her grandma went, might be like sweetest pie, might be like, you know, the nice girls and just the good girls, like the good people. Where on another campus, they could be the BITCHs. They could be, you know, they could be the mean girls. I'm just saying, it's different everywhere. It's different at every campus. Okay, so Bill talks to has a discussion, has a one-on-one with Ainsley and the mom. Ainsley is going in very confident. Like, she's like, I'm very confident in my ability. And Bill says that is good. That's good to be confident. However, if you go in very confident, this could come across another way. Like, it might not read well. Like, where you think you're confident, maybe it could come off as to somebody else as like cocky or like, you know, a know-it-all, or maybe you go in and you're confident and they think, oh, well, this girl really thinks she got it all. Like, she's just a shoo-in then. So, I mean, it's good to have confidence, but don't let that confidence make you look a little cocky. Here's the thing. The breakdowns, I'm wondering if this is coming from all the pressure from her family and from her mother. Her mother is like, I'm not a helicopter mom. I think she is, and if she's not, Bill called her a drone mom. So, I don't know, maybe she's just worried about, not, about falling short of her parents. And I feel bad for Ainsley. Ainsley, I liked Ainsley. Ainsley has it all together. But there's a little bit of doubt there. I did like Ainsley. But Ainsley and her mom and Bill, they go axe throwing. And I thought this was perfect because this was his way. This was Bill's way of showing Ainsley how to handle this. And basically what you have to do when you see that you might be having a meltdown or a breakdown, what you want to do is, number one, you want to recognize that it's going to happen. Then you want to catch it and you want to control it. And he had them throwing the axes and saying like what they're going to do, or like saying a statement and throwing it. And that is catching it and controlling it. Like, you take control of it. And that helped a lot. I was very proud of her to see her be able to do that, because listen, as someone who does have attacks, you know, who does have a panic attack every once in a while, catching it and controlling it is sometimes not as easy as it seems. So I was very proud of Ainsley for doing that. Okay, first day of sisterhood for Ainsley. She was dropped by her number one. But here's the thing, and once again, proud of her for doing this. She didn't let it get her down though. You know, she was like, maybe that's just not where I belong, and let me move on. She saw that it was maybe coming. She caught it and she controlled it. And she thought, listen, how am I going to think? How am I going to think about this as maybe not a blessing? How can I think of it as a blessing? So that she's doing excellent on that. She was talking to Bill. She had said that her bottom 3 houses were back on her schedule. So it seems to me like maybe like 3 houses had dropped her. She's thinking this is much more cutthroat than she ever thought it would be. But once again, she is not letting this control her and take her down. Great job. Ainsley says she is disappointed so far, though. She looks a little beat down, but she's not giving up. And when bid day comes around, Miss Ainsley accepted a bid and ran home to DG, or Delta Gamma. And congratulations, Miss Ainsley. You did it. You controlled your meltdowns. You controlled it. You can do it. And this should show you that you can do anything you put your mind to. So congratulations to Nina for accepting your bid at Kappa, and to Ainsley for accepting your bid at DG, both at Ole Miss. I hope they are both enjoying enjoying a long sisterhood and with lifelong friends and lifelong sisters. And listen, if anybody watched this week, please let me know. Like I said, this is not out there on, this show is not out there anymore on the, on like to DVR it, because I have it set to DVR. You have to actually go on to Lifetime. If you have cable, Lifetime on demand. And that's how I watched it. So listen, if anybody watched, please let me know in the comments what you thought. And listen, if nobody told you yet today, you are loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity out there in the world so it comes right back at you. Please take care of one another. Let's put kindness out there. It is free. This world is crazy. This world is cuckoo nuts right now. It's been cuckoo nuts for a while. But so when I say be aware of your surroundings, please be aware of your surroundings. I don't know how often I'm going to go outside of these four walls. I mean, maybe for a Starbucks, maybe for Starbucks, maybe some Dunkin' and Walmart pickups, but maybe Barnes and Nobles. But no matter where I go, I'm going to be aware of my surroundings, be smart and safe. Let's always hydrate with some water. And if you're in a dangerous situation, please know that Dolly and I are sending our love and thoughts and prayers and positive energy so you can make it through. Love you guys, and I may or may not see you tomorrow. I probably won't, but I will see you on Saturday for another episode of Soup-tember. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but this week it will be made in a crock pot, and it will be super easy. So I will see you guys on Saturday. Bye, guys. Bye.